Maryland sports fans, there's only one sports book in the great state of Maryland with over 50 years experience booking bets and supporting customers. Betfred Sportsbook at Longshots is now open and is the only sportsbook in Frederick offering cash betting on football, basketball, world soccer, and more. Visit the Betfred Sportsbook at I-270 and MD-85 in Frederick, right next to Longshots off-track betting. Go to betfredsports.com for more information and your chance to win exclusive merchandise. Must be 21 or older. Play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loud Spot. I'm your host, Sebastian, right out of Oklahoma City. I got a special guest co-host with me tonight. We got Mayhem Jesus joining us. We got Robert Flipping, and he's on this episode because he has 2 bachelor's degrees, one in finance, one in math. Thought it'd be appropriate for him to join the show. And then we got our guest tonight, Mr. Alex Mangum. So this should be an interesting episode. Without further ado... So how did you get into like crypto? Because I a lot of people that came to me, a few years ago, and
yeah.
To me it was almost like a pyramid scheme type people asking you to get into Bitcoin. I'm like, no, it sounds like you're trying to sell me Mary Kay or one of those other things. How did you decide to go ahead and jump into it?
Basically, I'd heard about it for many years. I'd been ignoring it. And I finally got in a group of people, and this is the power of the network effect. When this big group of people were all, a bunch of them were talking about it all the time.
Okay.
And listening to them, I was like, man, some of them sound like they're just regurgitating headlines and stuff like that. Some of them might know something about it. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are making money. I should look into this. And
so you knew people that were actually I guess I know some people that made some money too. But you knew people that were, but was it really money they were making, or were they just, because it's all electronic, right? But there's a value to that electronic currency.
Yeah, it's a deep concept. Like, what is value? Well, it's whatever you're willing to give some of your resources for. And so when we say making money on crypto, most people mean that they're cashing out for whatever their fiat currency is.
Okay.
And fiat currency, that term needs to be understood. Fiat currency is basically what the world runs on right now. It's currency by decree. The government says fiat, like they make a decree, it's money. That means it's disconnected from a reserve currency.
Okay.
Like America's not backed up by anything but trust in the American government. How much trust you got in the American government? Okay. In 1971, they said, that's it, we're going off the gold standard. They basically defaulted on all the dollars out there because you used to be able to come back to the government and say, hey, I want to trade you my paper for your gold. I want to retrieve my gold. And in 71, they said, right. Nope. And so most of the nations of the world have followed suit. Just fiat. So when most people say I made money on crypto, that means that they're counting for the value of their crypto that they own in whatever currency that they, live in and or peg it to. How many dollars do you have in Bitcoin? That's why we always.
Well, does cryptocurrency? Is Bitcoin crypto? It's the same thing, right? It's just another term.
Yeah. Crypto's the umbrella.
Okay, and then there's different cryptocurrencies. Then.
Yeah, there's like 10,000 of them, dude.
See, but then how do they all relate to each other? Like, which one do you buy?
They don't.
If you're buying Bitcoin, and then there's what's another big one besides Bitcoin?
Ethereum.
There's
Ethereum.
Ethereum's a big one.
Yeah, and and you can correct me if I'm wrong or generalizing to too many cryptocurrencies, but they're Alex mentioned earlier, you're not relying on a bank's ledger to keep track of where money goes when it changes hands. So if you were to try to look at say when I send you money through Facebook Messenger or something like that, or
right.
PayPal, that what we see is money goes from me and then it ends up in your bank account, but there's a middleman there, and that's the bank. Now with Bitcoin has its own ledger that when I give money to you, it doesn't go anywhere but to you. There's no middleman. And Bitcoin has its own ledger as a cryptocurrency that is separate from the ledger of Ethereum. So those ledgers are called blockchains, and that's what makes them different. And however widely traded one cryptocurrency is versus another, or, for whatever reason, one gets more popular, more sensationalized, or has more value, that's what determines the value of one Bitcoin. And it's also very similar to how, when you think about stocks and market cap, there's only either a certain amount of money or a certain number of stocks for one particular, say it's Apple or Google, some of the big S&P 500, tickers, whatever it is.
Yep.
Bitcoin's the same way. There is a fixed number of Bitcoins.
Yep.
I think it's somewhere around, was it 21 million?
That's right.
Yeah, 21 million Bitcoin.
I don't know how you know. He's like, yep, that's right. No, I want to make sure Mayhem Jesus is I want to make sure Mayhem Jesus is set up. Are you back with us? You're good to go?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I think I was too far away from our router.
Okay, but no, before you go on, Robert, I do want to say, because you said it was Ethereum, right? Is that what you said? And Bitcoin would be another one. So if you're buying Ethereum or you're buying Bitcoin, okay, those don't you can't. Can you trade one for the other?
They do not talk to each other. Absolutely, you can trade one for another.
Okay,
because
how do you know which one to buy? Like, does one have more value than others? And on top of that, can you use cryptocurrency? Like, let's say you're on eBay, right? And because I think eBay accepts it now, or maybe Amazon or one of those big companies, right?
Yep.
They accept it. But do they accept all forms of crypto, or do they only accept certain forms of crypto?
Only certain.
And I love where this is going, because so today I was getting my webcam for this episode.
You bought it with crypto?
When I was checking out, I don't remember how it came up, but I said to the cashier, I was like, well, we're all going to be using Bitcoin in a few years anyway, right? And he was like, exactly.
Yeah.
But there are some places that will accept cryptocurrencies, and they'll usually tell you which ones they do, and it's very similar to, we take MasterCard but not American Express, or we take both. It depends.
So Mayhem Jesus, have you ever thought about buying crypto at all?
Oh yeah,
I
thought about it. I've talked to buddies about it. But what worries me, and it's probably a good question to ask you guys, is I worry about getting scammed on some shit. Because me not knowing what the fuck is going on, I worry about somebody realizing that I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Right.
Taking my money.
And they say that happens with newbies. They get taken advantage of because they don't know. So before anyone buys crypto, should you, Alex, I'll ask you this, should you do a lot of research into what you're going to buy first before you just dive into the market?
Of course. I mean, if you tell somebody, hey, go buy a car today, you're going to tell them, hey, go figure out what car you need, what it's going to do for you, the purpose, who makes it, are they good makers? Like, it's personal responsibility. Crypto, the term, it grew out of that from all these cypherpunk dudes that are trying math and coding and software and all this stuff. They came together and they discovered this thing with that anonymous individual, Satoshi Nakamoto. And they're a very libertarian movement, very, anti-government, very social, socially progressive, fiscally conservative people. Do whatever the hell you want. Leave me alone. Like, absolutely. You can't just go buying crypto. That's a quick way to lose all your money.
That's why I don't do it. Because that's what I would do. I go buy all this shit and fucking lose it all right away.
You invest in stocks?
No, I did, and the one stock I did invest in, they wound up going bankrupt, so I quit.
not a good track record.
Yeah.
No,
I can't. Me picking stocks is like me picking racehorses. Yeah,
dude,
exactly. It's like picking a racehorse. I can't wait for a stock to take a shit and pick that one. So I don't know what to do.
To buy these things, the thing that I recommend to people is take whatever to you is a small amount of money. If that's $100, cool. If that's $10K, cool. A small amount of money. Go to an exchange, because in a crypto exchange is very much like a stock exchange. You want to go, are you going to buy through Fidelity? You're going to go buy through TD Ameritrade. Who are you going to go buy through, right? You find a respective company, a respectful company. You go in there and you start buying your stocks. You set up an account. It's very similar with crypto right now. The difference is these exchanges are banks. They control your account. And most of them, especially in America, have what they call KYC, know your customer. They require an ID. They require a social security number.
Right.
They go watch you. So it's defeating the whole thesis of Bitcoin, which is I control my currency.
Right.
I send it to whoever the hell I want. There's no trusted third party. As soon as you go to an exchange, you got to trust the third party.
You think the government's going to try to control?
Hell yeah.
I mean, they're going to have to. But this is a worldwide thing. So, like, let's say you have like
Bitcoin.
How much Bitcoin? I don't even know if that's the right answer to say. Like, how many? You don't have pieces of Bitcoin because you just don't be. But how much Bitcoin, I guess, do you have?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be giving away my my
that's
network.
That's a personal question. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So but you have quite a bit, right? No, you have one Bitcoin.
A little bit more than that.
That's quite a bit, though. Yeah. So,
okay.
Do you have everything in Bitcoin?
Nope.
I mean, is it something that you're going all in on, or do you diversify that with stocks, or what do you do?
I'm not buying stocks today. I'm buying Bitcoin every pay period, dollar cost averaging into it.
Okay.
Which, if you do the math on finance and all that, there's no better investment method than a dollar cost average, which is just price does this, whatever. Every 2 weeks, every month, whatever. I'm buying a certain amount.
So your value then doesn't get lost no matter what country you move to, right? Let's say you want to move to Germany. Your value for what you have remains the same in any country, correct?
Well, my Bitcoin pegged to their currency is what you mean, right?
Oh, no, that's not what I meant, but
so like
I'm happy you put it that way.
If I have one Bitcoin and I go to Germany, I have one Bitcoin. But what's the exchange rate between Bitcoin and francs or Deutschmarks?
Right, but so then it relates to their dollar then.
Yeah, it's I mean, here sellable thing on the planet.
Okay, you're back.
What's the most sellable thing on the planet? What could you sell easier than anything else?
Water. I don't know the answer.
Dollars.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I can say that on this podcast.
I sell you dollars for a chair, for a lamp, for a credit card. I can sell dollars for anything, right? It's the most sellable thing on the planet.
I said water. I was wrong.
Yeah. So
I'm simple, guys.
You know, if I sell Bitcoin, what am I selling it for? Am I going to exchange it for francs or dollars or euros or whatever, right? So no matter where I go on the planet, as long as that person will accept Bitcoin, then I can sell it to them, or I can exchange it for whatever. So yeah, that's how you get going on it. Is you have to understand, do the basics. What is currency first? Like, what is a currency?
This seems like as much a leap of faith as trusting a dollar, though.
Yeah, it's as much. We all have faith. Like, what do we really understand? None of us really understand much. We know that this computer turns on. I don't really know how it works.
Right.
You strum a guitar, the sound waves go through the atmosphere. None of us can really explain it, like down to the molecular level. We just trust it because of experience, right? So you guys have a lot of experience. I have a lot of experience with dollars. It works.
Okay.
And you know what's funny
Not
is
enough. I wish I had more.
I could always use a little more space in the house, man.
Now, Robert, being a recent graduate with a finance degree and a math degree in finance, when you were going to school, was Bitcoin ever a subject that was talked about, or cryptocurrency, I guess I should say?
No, not formally through textbooks, no. But it was a very big thing, culturally, if that makes sense. I had classmates that were getting really into it. In fact, one, he was the guy whose YouTube channel I showed you just the other day. I mean, he has a YouTube channel of his own that I think started out almost entirely being crypto based, because he was just really getting into the movement, investing. But, he was one of those, I hope if he watches this, he doesn't, think I'm being too critical of him, but he really came off as one of those Bitcoin is the future. Like everybody needs to be doing the kind of what you said earlier. Like, are you all into Bitcoin or are you diversified? And Alex said he's
Bitcoin
diversified.
maximalist.
Yeah, well, this
I'm a maximalist. He sounds like he was.
Yeah, like this classmate of mine, really came off as I think everybody should have literally everything in Bitcoin. This is where everything is going. I worked a little bit in financial services as well after I finished my finance degree. I was licensed to, basically help people with retirement accounts and what we called holistic financial planning. And, one thing that was, in common between getting my finance degree and then actually working in finance was diversification is key. As great as Bitcoin has done, and there are people that probably did go all in and it was one hell of a payday. That's more
But
rare than,
you can't buy stuff with stocks like you can with cryptocurrency, but because stocks going down,
that's debatable.
Huh?
Yeah, because you can trade stocks for. I mean, it just
can you buy an Apple Watch on Amazon with stocks?
Probably not.
No,
but you can buy an Apple Watch with cryptocurrency. Probably.
Well, maybe, but that depends. Like, what if you're going through a private party and you just say, "Hey, I've got a stock."
Yeah.
I don't know. Give me a stock that's worth like $300-400 whatever an Apple Watch.
A bank would probably give you a loan based on stocks.
Yeah,
if they took collateral, absolutely.
Okay, but saying that someone could really like beets, like the root vegetable, and you'd be like, hey,
beets.
Yeah, not headphones, but like carrots and beets, and you could be like, hey man, I got these fucking 100 jars of beets. Can I have your fucking iPad?
Well, see,
you know what I'm saying?
So is it the bar? Are we bringing back the barter system?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What Alex was saying earlier, it's all about what is currency. Like at that point, you're bartering and you're using it as a currency of your own. So I mean, it just depends on how you want to argue the semantics. But
and I want to look at it like that.
Give me just a second to
like
make
the
a point
barter
here
system.
on the currency. So currencies have characteristics. Yep. They're fungible. You can break them down into smaller parts, dollars, cents. They resist deterioration and fading away. Gold is great because it doesn't break down. They're portable. How portable are they? Some are more portable than others. Try carrying around $500 of gold. And on and on. There's like 6 major ones, right? When you address Bitcoin, and I got to say Bitcoin specifically because the others are very, very different. And I mean, all the others are very different. When you look at Bitcoin and you compare those characteristics of Bitcoin, it's the most superior currency ever created. That's my claim. That's my opinion. That's my claim. It's the most superior. It's the most portable.
I believe you because you sound so confident.
It's the most resistant to degradation. It's the most resistant to fraud. It's the most fungible. Like, it's the best currency ever created. Yes. There has never been.
So unless the grid goes down, what if the grid goes down, you're fucked though. As soon as you can't charge your phone back up, or you can't do something like that. Worst case scenario, granted. But so what happens if you can't? I mean,
are you painting like an apocalyptic kind of scenario, like a meteor hits the Earth and then?
I'm saying like even if it was a month-long natural disaster scenario,
it doesn't matter.
I mean,
is the whole world powered down?
It was kind of a crazy.
No. Is the whole world powered down?
That's what
I'm just saying. There's got to be. If there was, let's go apocalyptical and say, yeah. What happens whenever you can't get power anymore?
You have to take it so far to that extreme that you have to say that like all satellites are knocked down, all memory devices that have memory on them are destroyed, because if the power
has to go that far.
When the power comes back on and you reboot your computer, the ledger is still there. All Bitcoin is software. All right. All it is code. Okay. And it's at the most basic level. It's me sending a text to someone else and everybody else knows the text and we all agree on the text. It's just,
but it's not susceptible to hackers.
That was what I was going to bring up next is great question. Because I was thinking, and you said earlier, I think Alex said maybe it's never been hacked or something like that. Right. But it could potentially it's plausible.
Sure, a rhinoceros could run down the street in front of my home, right?
No, you're confusing plausible and possible. It's technically it's possible, but
it's my show. I say
plausible.
what I want.
No, but there's a difference. It's possible, but it's not plausible.
And this is why it's not plausible.
Okay.
Because it's this word decentralized, right? We've heard that it's decentralized. That means different things. When you talk about Ethereum's decentralization and Bitcoin's decentralization, two very different things. Are not all the same. But decentralized, these things, this Bitcoin runs off of nodes. You can think of them as servers, right? I have one downstairs. I run a node. It's not a miner, so don't get those confused. Like, I'm not mining Bitcoin. I'm not solving and earning. It's just a ledger, and it has a wallet on there, so I can send my Bitcoin back and forth. But there's a couple 100,000 of those ledgers around the world. Decentralized, right? And the more ledgers there are, the more decentralized it is, the less any one person can have control over it.
Okay.
So Bitcoin is software. Bitcoin is democratic, meaning that you have to have control of 51% of the computing network of Bitcoin if you want to make a change without getting everybody else to vote. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why, and the power behind it, and the cryptography behind it, the secret squirrel stuff behind it is why it's never been hacked. People have stolen Bitcoin from others.
Okay.
But that's like saying I went into your bank account and then transferred your money out. It's not saying that I went and minted dollars or forged dollars. There's never been a double spend or a forgery of Bitcoin.
Wow.
It's the biggest, most powerful computing network in the history of man. There's no computer network on the planet that has more computing power than Bitcoin is. It's that strong. And to hack it, they estimated it would take several years and like $4 trillion or something like that.
Is this just Bitcoin, not all cryptocurrency, right?
I'm talking about Bitcoin.
Okay.
You talk about all the cryptocurrencies, it's just bigger than that even.
Okay. So when do you decide, because this is an interesting question, when do you decide, if ever, to sell? Because is it like, do you want to buy when it's low and then sell when it's high, or you just want to maintain and keep it?
That's always like the meme, like the salesman comes in. I'm going to tell you something. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to buy low and we're going to sell high. And you're like, yeah, man, I want to invest. I mean, that's what everybody wants to do. But there's theories behind it. Like, man, when it gets to a certain point, you never have to sell. It's like if you were able to own real estate in Manhattan, Michael Saylor says this all the time. And deed it into your family, if you manage that right, the value of that land goes up faster than you can spend it. So therefore, you collateralize it and you borrow against it, and you never actually have to sell. So there's theories about that with Bitcoin, that there may come a time that you never have to sell it. But in the end, I need dollars. The four of us need dollars to operate. Like, the dollar probably isn't going away anytime soon. It may collapse, and there's going to be some serious, restructuring of the world order. But to change the world's economic payment rails, to change the company's payroll, to do all that, the cost of that is just astronomical. It's beyond plausible for us to think that we're only going to operate in Bitcoin. What's most likely going to happen is Bitcoin is going to be a reserve asset.
What year did you get started with Bitcoin?
Last February. I hate myself. I'm so mad because as soon as I did look,
you were hoping like, nobody would ask that, weren't you?
I was like, let me. Nobody should be getting financial advice from me. I'm giving you guys opinions, right? I'm not qualified.
Yeah, no, but you know a lot. I know a shit
ton because I was like,
you're convincing.
I went down the rabbit hole, man.
All right, so what do you think about all this, man? What's your take, Mr. Financial Degrees?
Oh, Robert.
Just what I went back to earlier is I wouldn't ever be an all-in, like, diehard Bitcoin fanatic, but it should be part of anybody that's trying to take some kind of holistic approach to their investing.
That's right.
Should include it.
Fidelity came out with.
Are you as confident in the security?
Oh, absolutely. Like it, and it kind of goes back to Alex really zoomed through the idea of, there's never been a double spend, but if you don't know what that means, you said something earlier about, if somebody could pull off some kind of a fraud with Bitcoin, and in order for somebody to do that, they would have to basically trick every ledger. He said he's got a ledger in his house, and there's thousands upon thousands of other ledgers out there. In order to commit some kind of a fraud, you would have to trick every single ledger like separately. It would never happen. And another thing is that it's all public. Even if somebody managed to do it, there would be so many eyes on it that it would, it would
collapse the value of it. It would collapse the value of it, because the value is only there because of the faith.
What are you saying about fidelity, Alex?
Because Robert was saying, diversification is a wonderful concept. Fidelity came out the other day. Fidelity, they have like a couple $1 trillion of investments under their management, right? They said it's riskier to have a 0 position in Bitcoin than it is to have a 5% position in Bitcoin. That's their public stance now.
Wow.
That's powerful, right? That's powerful.
That's a big one.
And back to what I was saying, it's probably because Bitcoin is so trustworthy and it has all these magical properties of this magic internet money that it's most likely going to become a reserve currency. So America used to be really powerful because we had a ton of gold in Fort Knox. I doubt we have a ton of gold in Fort Knox today. We don't know how much gold we have in Fort Knox today because you can't audit the Fed. Right. And fractional reserve banking is essentially what we have in America and everywhere else, which is you guys take $1,000, you take $1,000, you put it in your savings account. What does that bank give you? They give you
a promise.
They give you a promise, but what are your returns on that savings account?
Oh, like 0.5%, maybe.
And you get like 2 pennies at the end of the year, right? But they take that $1,000 and they go, oh, we can loan out 10K now because they're 10-to-1 fractional reserve, right?
Right.
So now all of a sudden they loan out 9K, 10K on top of that one that they have in reserve, and they get interest back on that, and they give you a penny. Man, the banking system is screwed up, dude.
Yeah, they and what's funny is we've already been on 32 minutes, and normally I'm like ready to wrap it up. This is a very interesting conversation. Like I find it fascinating, and you're very knowledgeable since only doing it for a year and a month, pretty much.
I got issues where I just like gravitate to something and then I don't leave it alone.
But no, that's do you try? I do want to add just one more question. Then we'll get off here, and if we have a lot of people that like this, maybe we'll do another one in 3 or 4 months from now. Might be kind of interesting. But do you try to convince your friends or talk to your friends about Bitcoin and tell them? And by no means do I want people to think that I'm for or against Bitcoin. I'm just hosting this show here because it's interesting to me. Would you try to convince your friends why it's good, or do you not really talk about it to them?
I do, to the point that it's just bothersome. roll their eyes at me, and my wife is like, "Oh, he's going again." And yeah, man,
can you please not talk about Bitcoin to your friends at dinner tonight, Alex?
And the problem is too, I grew up in the Mormon church. So it's like they taught me how to be an annoying Mormon, and now I'm an annoying Bitcoiner knocking on your door. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, Satoshi Nakamoto? Like, it's bad, dude. I talk about it all the damn time.
Well, Mayhem Jesus, apparently he's having some technical difficulties, so
he's been in and out.
The show. You know what? I found, like I said, man, I found it very interesting. We
didn't even scratch the surface, man.
I know we didn't, and I could tell we could be on here for a whole nother hour.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to do. I want to leave this where it's at. I do want you to come back on maybe this summer, beginning of summer. And Robert, I want you to come back on too. And maybe Mayhem Jesus can join us again. I do want to thank him for joining. And please check out his show. But if you didn't hear it, go back earlier and you can hear all about it. And Alex, man, thank you for sharing all of your thoughts on Bitcoin. I know there's a whole lot more to say. In fact, I don't even think we really got out what I planned on accomplishing during this podcast, but that's okay. That leaves room for more, to be continued, if you will.
Yeah, because what were you wanting to get? Because I was thinking next time we could go into like NFTs, because that's part of the
maybe go into NFT,
too,
Robert. And, next time we have another this episode and we talk about Bitcoins again, I'll have you join because you have a lot of good input, and I knew you would coming on to this episode with us. So that's all the time we got for this episode. I do want to remind everyone to check out our YouTube. Alex and Robert, stay there. Don't go anywhere till after the outro song is done. And that's all I got. Peace out, rock on, and much love.
This is the Loud Spot outro by Nothing Short of Tragic. Is this all talk with no action? No. Is this my thoughts with distraction? No. Is this what I bought that's in fashion? Or is this the Loud Spot with Sebastian? Yes. Does Nothing Short of Tragic have his back again? Yes. Does everything that's good really have to end? Yes. A pin post has a pin show, so to get more episodes, make an order, this is over.
Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to click the like and share button.
Don't forget to go to our YouTube and subscribe.
If you want to listen to our audio and pick up some cool merch, go to www.theloudspot.net. Peace out, rock on, much love.